Welcome back to the DeClerc Homestead. This is Beth, and it's day 17 of our 30-day challenge to prepping my garden, getting it all ready for winter so that next spring I'm thanking myself instead of not being very happy with myself. We are going to go back to the greenhouse today. I have just a little bit of work to do over here, putting fabric down on the back portion of this. And I wanted to share a tip with you guys for if you are gonna lay fabric in your garden to being like an entire planting situation. The one thing that I have learned in order to make sure that you're completely keeping all weeds from going through is that you have to have a good overlap from each piece that you're putting down. So I'm tucking it under a few inches of these pieces going the opposite direction, and then the ones that are going to be parallel to each other, I like to overlap them about 6 inches so you can kind of see the lines here, just so that nothing can creep through the edge and potentially grow through. So just a little tip I thought I would share for anyone that's looking to get some fabric and help manage their weeds for the next growing season. Another question that I've gotten is how I cut my fabric. You can cut it with scissors. I definitely prefer to use a torch though, because it kind of melts the edge and seals it so you don't get any fraying. And obviously just be smart when you're doing this. Don't do it when it's really, really dry out or without a hose nearby. But that's my preferred way of cutting the fabric when you're piecing it together. I should mention to you guys, if you are thinking about investing in a greenhouse for your homestead, even if it's not one this big, this one's 16 by 40, but Grower Solution is who this one is made by, and they have all different shapes and sizes and styles. And right now they have the only time of year where they are providing free shipping for greenhouses over a certain price point. And it's kind of a nice time of year to be stocking up on things like landscape fabric and irrigation and all of that gardening stuff that you know you're going to want for the next season, but you are limited on finances come springtime just because there's so many things to buy. So kind of spreading out the cost of that by getting some of the things in the fall is sometimes helpful. But I definitely recommend going and looking at their site and seeing if there's a greenhouse that is a good style for you. You can use my discount code for 10% off. It is the word homestead, and I'll put a link in the description to this video as well. But just wanted to mention it. I've been so happy with the quality of everything, and I've used their landscape fabric and their irrigation for years. So I know their customer service is great and very, very helpful, high quality. But that's about all we can do for landscape fabric for now. I will have to move this raised bed next year and finish the rest. Now Evelyn and I are going to head over to the orchard garden, crop garden area. I'm not going to tackle the crop garden portion yet, though this tarp is getting kind of ripped to shreds between the dogs and the wind, so I really need to prioritize getting that at least pulled up. What I'm going to focus on today, though, is this cardboard area. I put this down a few weeks ago and put some wood chips on it, but it isn't enough to hold it down completely. So we're going to try to get as much of this covered with a thick layer of wood chips today as we can. And I'm also going to go through the current row of fruit trees that I have over here and pull up any weeds that came through the wood chips that we put down earlier in the springtime. there's really not that many. And almost all of the weeds that did come through are either the alfalfa or dandelions. The alfalfa has a really deep root system. It's best just to smother it if you're not willing to spray it, which I'm not. The dandelions, they're fairly shallow rooted. However, they do tend to break easily. So I have found it's easiest to kind of pry it with a shovel and loosen it before pulling it out so that the leaves don't just completely pull off. So just kind of lifting the shovel till you almost hear like a pop, and then the root will break and you can pull it right out super easily. So I had to go down and probably take a few dozen of these out in the entire area, but other than that, it wasn't too bad. So now we are going to get as many wood chips spread as we can. You will notice that our male livestock guardian dog, Samson, is hanging pretty close to us while we're out here. And it's funny because we had our layered flock over in electric netting in this portion of the garden all summertime, kind of in a few different spots. But Evelyn was in charge of those chores, and every morning, she's the really big dog lover of the kids. So every morning she would bring Samson out to do her chores with her at the chickens. And I think when he saw her walk out there, he was kind of like, what are we doing? Are we doing chores? Like, what's going on? So he was kind of lingering as if he was reminiscing all of his time with her during the summertime. It was pretty sweet, but we got some work done. We didn't quit quite as far as I had hoped to, but I loved Evelyn's sentiments, which were, hey, if we do this for 2 or 3 days, we'll be all the way to the end. And she's totally right. That's all we can do is just keep trucking along at it a little bit at a time. And that's how you get things done around here. But don't forget to check out Grower Solution for greenhouses, landscape fabric, irrigation. They have potting, seed starting trays, all of that stuff. And if you have any questions about stuff they carry, let me know. I'm happy to help and give you direction or recommendations. But be sure to use the code so that you can get 10% off. And it does help me out when you use that link. So I really appreciate it. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.